All right, Rick. So thanks for coming on the podcast. I know we met just recently. You're down in Florida, which is where my wife's from. So it
That's
all
right,
works
Fort
out.
Lauderdale.
Yeah, exactly. That's where she grew up. Fort Lauderdale, Weston, that whole area. And I have
Yep.
a lot of relatives there in South Jersey, South Jersey, South Florida, Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale, Miami,
Yep.
the whole geography. Okay, so let's go back. Today we're going to talk about, how you can save money on your bills and different things like that, and what you do for people, and how you work with business owners and tips and
Absolutely.
tricks. Maybe go back with, where you grew up, what your background is, and how you kind of got
Absolutely.
into what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you so much again, first, Mitch, for
Yeah,
having
quite
me
welcome.
today on the
Welcome.
call. I always love to educate any audiences, business or personal. Yeah, I'd love to share our purpose and how we contribute. A little bit about me. I was born and raised in southern Italy, Sicily, to be exact.
Okay.
Did my teenage years there, moved to the United States in my early teens in 2003. No English, no money, just, the American dream. An
You
immigrant
come over here with
looking.
family? You came over here alone? What did you?
I came over here with my mom. Yeah, with my mother.
Okay. And you
With
have
my
no
two,
accent whatsoever.
not anymore.
Who's coming into this room? Laura Favre? Is she with
Nope,
you?
dismiss it.
Okay. I have no idea how anybody could even get into this. Hold on a second. Let's see. That's weird. Remove. Okay. No idea how she's coming
Yep.
in, but okay, keep going.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, just came with my parents and, to make something out of ourselves and out of myself. Um, Earlier teenage years have spent in the Northeast in Pennsylvania, right outside of Philadelphia. Did my college here in Philadelphia. And then in 2014, I relocated to South Florida. And
Okay.
that's kind of been my entire United States, stay, Pennsylvania and South Florida.
Okay, good. So you went to school in Pennsylvania, you said, or
That's
you went
that's correct. Yeah, I went to college in Pennsylvania. Finished that up early 2012,
then
and then
relocated?
2014, yeah, relocated to South Florida. I got tired of the winter, so
Yeah, I mean, look, with the way the weather's been, I'm not sure which you've been better off in South Florida or Pennsylvania. Like
that's right. That's true as
the
well.
last few
I
years.
like
Yeah.
to visit both states. They both have good, pros and cons. So.
Right. So when you got out of school and you relocated to Florida, what were you doing down there?
So I got picked up back before moving to Florida. I
Okay.
got picked up by one of the largest internet and cable provider in the U.S.
Okay.
Not sure if I can say their name, but they're a
It's up
big
to
one.
you. I don't care.
Yeah, I got picked up by them,
Okay.
and I started with them, and they moved me down to South Florida in 2014.
And was that to
And
like manage a store, or was it sales? What were you doing?
correct. So I was managing the retail stores, and I was
Okay.
managing the customers, whether it's personal or business,
Got it.
wireless and cable expenses, wireless and cable bills, their
Right.
telecommunication bills, from something small, let's say, to 2 or 5 cell phone bill line to
Right.
the state farms of America, the multi-million dollar accounts where they had 2, 3, 5,000 plus lines, and so on. So
That's a big
everything in
bill.
between.
Yeah. So you
Yes.
were managing the accounts, plus you were supposed to bring some in, find your own business.
No, so I was in
No.
sales. I was in charge of a very specific department,
Okay.
which was the incentives and promotions and subsidies
Okay.
that you should have on your bill. So basically the discounts that you should have on your bill or shouldn't have on your bill.
So your
So
job was to kind of check out the bills, but you're working on the company side at this point,
I
right?
was working on, yeah, with that company, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so my job was to make sure you either a promotion was taken away from you, or we were adding a promotion to your account. So I had all the codes and all the promotions that all the customers wanted on their bills, because it would lead them to reducing their bill, would lead them to
Okay,
paying
so I
less.
know this is a little off the subject, but so would you
Yeah.
call customers and say, hey, Mitch, you've been a customer for a while. You're supposed to have this promotion, and then you'd give them the promotion?
No, we're not
No.
allowed to do that, actually. We were
Right. That's
not
what I would
allowed
think. Nobody's ever called
to-
me from who do we have? T-Mobile now, but Verizon before. Nobody's ever called me and said, hey, Mitch, I want to point it out to you. We have this promotion and you should have been getting the promotion. We're going to give it to you now.
Correct.
Never.
That is not volunteered information that
Right.
can be given to customers
Right. Well, that's clearly not in the best financial interest of the company.
or
So
their
not
company.
surprised.
Correct. Yeah. So any cell phone or cable or internet provider,
Right.
there's only, we have AT&T,
Not that many of them. Right.
T-Mobile, Verizon, Sprint, none of them, Comcast, none of them are in the best, it's not in their best interest to make sure you're paying less. It's
Right.
in their best interest to make sure you're paying more.
Right. Of
Or
course.
you don't know what you should be paying. That's what they love.
Right. Sure. Well, they just want to attract new customers, right? There's probably very few new entrants to those marketplaces, right? You
Right.
really people moving around. I mean, maybe cell phones, right? Your kids get a little bit older, you add lines, but for the most part,
It's
it's people
saturated.
moving around, right? It's saturated.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah,
So
right.
they're all trying to just bring customers in. And that's why the new customer rate is sort of a myth.
Yeah.
There is no new customer rate.
Right. There's a new
because-
customer to your company, but they were a customer with another company in most cases.
Correct.
Right? Yeah,
Correct. Yeah, that's a myth.
That's what I figured. That's a tough marketplace, though, to work in as a business owner, right? Could you imagine if your company was basically you and your competitors were doing business with everybody and there was no people to sell to? I mean, you'd basically have to steal them away from each other, which is what they do, right? That's what that's what you see on, now Verizon is saying, we want to get you all on 5G. Come on over.
Yeah.
We switched to T-Mobile because it saved us $300 a month, and we all got new phones. I don't know, whatever.
Yep.
Someday we'll probably go back. I don't know.
That's exactly what everyone does. They get fed up with their provider and they switch. What they
Right.
don't know is that it doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
And
Meaning
they don't
they
know
could
how to
make a
do
deal
that.
and stay. Right. Well, before
Yeah.
portability, it was harder because you'd lose your phone number. Nobody wanted to lose their phone number. And then
Correct.
obviously they caught
Yes.
on to
Yeah.
that.
Now it's a lot easier. So, that's a bit of what I used to do for businesses and individuals.
So what kind of things did you learn? Like, did you see, I mean, assuming you can talk about them, that when you were working on the company side?
Absolutely. My God. Service issues, billing issues, technicians would never show up. I would see a technician look at a house, not want to do the job, and on their iPad, put in customer not home and leave.
And you would have that on video or no?
I don't have that on video, but
Oh, okay.
I've been in trucks with technicians.
And they
that
did
would
that.
look, yeah, and because they don't want to do the job, or they're just about done with their shift for lunch, and they
Right.
would say customer not home. And then the customer would have a technician not show up, which is
Right.
very common, right? And they would have to reschedule the entire thing again. I've seen
Yeah, and they
that.
put the whole day aside, stay home from work. Or
I've
so what?
seen
Do you mean
that.
like either the job looked too big, or they didn't like the house, or whatever?
They just didn't want to do it.
Well, that says a lot about the work ethic of the average American worker. So
Yeah, they just didn't want to do it. I've seen that. I've been in call centers,
yeah,
and I've seen customers call in and complain about their bill. And the representative look at the solution, the discount or the promotion the customer is trying to obtain, and say to the customer, I'm sorry, we don't have anything.
right. And it's right in front of them. Like
And it's right in
there.
front of them.
They could just give it to them.
Correct.
Now, why
I've
it doesn't
seen-
make the guy money? Does it make the representative money? No, it
No.
doesn't. So why are they doing that?
A number of different reasons. These call centers are getting
Right.
screamed at all day long, and they're cleaning up problems they did not cause. So
From
if
customers, you mean screamed up by customers?
you're
Yeah,
screamed at by customers
yeah,
all day long on phone calls, and to resolve problems they did not
Yeah.
cause. So the incentive to help someone who is being
Nasty.
nasty, to put it mildly, isn't there. And
Right.
when you get transferred around, it's because they don't want to deal with you. When
Right. I understand
the
that. Sure.
phone mysteriously hangs up,
Right.
it's because they just hung up on you.
Right.
And there's some tips that I'll share on how to make sure that doesn't happen to you. And you
Right.
don't have to start another 45-minute call again. So, and my gosh, probably one of the most common things we see. As you and I know, can I speak to your supervisor or manager is very common.
Right.
More often than not, they will pass that conversation to a colleague right
Going,
next
you
to
don't
them.
know the difference, right?
You don't know the difference.
Right.
And I've seen that. So there's all sorts of, not just with AT&T or Sprint or T-Mobile, but as an industry standard, there's these things that happen behind the curtains that the customers, the business owners, do not know and are
Right.
not purviewed to know.
Yeah. And there's no way you can know.
There's no way you can know,
Right.
unless, one of those employees goes rogue and says, I'm going to tell everyone how you're ripping them off and
Right.
how they could avoid the aggravation.
Right. Well, that's kind of leading up to what you're doing now, right? So obviously you started seeing things and it aggravated you that these people weren't getting their fair share or what they're entitled to or whatever it is, I mean, I always feel like you, especially in the old days when cable was cable, right? That was it. The Fios and AT&T, they weren't in the TV business. So you really didn't have a choice. So you'd set up your cable thing when you moved, let's say, and they said, well, you happy with that? Is that okay? What are you going to say? No, I don't want television. Now there's more competition. It's a little bit different, but I'm sure I know there's tons of fees that are hidden in there that, we used to say voice over IP. There were all kinds of crazy things. You don't even know what you're reading half the time.
Correct.
Yeah.
I can tell you on a standard TV and internet bill.
Yeah, like we're talking residential bill, right?
So on a standard residential bill,
right,
regular folks, there's a minimum of $45 to $50 of taxes and fees.
That
before you buy any services, just your
Right.
taxes and fees are between $40 to $50. So when they say, oh, it's 100 plus taxes, it's
Right.
really 150. Or if
Right.
it's 200 plus taxes, it's really 250. So there's all sorts of fees.
But that sounds high though, Rick. I mean, that's like a 50% charge. If it's $100, yeah.
That's correct. So you have all sorts of regulatory fees, sports regional fees, service fees, charges, all
Are
sorts
these
of
real?
things. Oh, they're very real.
And they go to other
them.
people, right?
And everyone pays them, correct?
Yeah.
On businesses, it's
Right.
even more. Businesses, because they are being built at a more expensive cost, they pay more taxes. And some businesses should not be paying taxes at all on their bills. And that's something that I can get into a little later in topic.
Okay,
So
good.
some businesses, they should not be paying taxes, and they do.
Interesting. Okay. So, all right. So how long were you on the company side working for? I don't know if you work for multiple companies or just one company.
I worked for one provider. They
Okay.
are one of the major providers across the
Right.
United States, internet, TV, and phones and cell phones. I had a very successful career with them for 6 years.
Okay.
And during my 6 years, I saw two things in common that affected businesses and personal accounts, people. Yeah.
Okay. You're going to tell us what that is?
I sure can. Those two things I saw in common were the aggravation that people have to go through, that businesses have to go through, not just at the store location, but over customer service. Again, going back to technicians not showing up,
Right.
service issues, billing issues. I'm sure yourself, you've had some experiences that have had
Oh, for sure. If you pay
haven't.
attention to your bill, you will find things wrong all the time.
Correct. And to fix those things that are
It's a
wrong
nightmare.
is a nightmare. So I
Right.
noticed the nightmare that was going on. And then I noticed that every business account that I was in and every personal account that I saw was overpaying. They were paying an amount that was more that they needed to. They either did not have the right discounts and promotions in place, or
Okay.
they were being sold something that they were underutilizing, that they did not need whatsoever.
Right.
So those are the two things in common that I saw. And in 2016, I decided to do something about it.
Okay. Well, the frustration part of it, I think, just prevents you from doing things, right? If it's only a $20 or $30 a month, which adds up, obviously, you're
Correct.
more aggravated. Then you don't want to deal with it. You're like, whatever. And
Correct.
you don't do something about it.
Correct. Yeah. And a lot of people's frustration comes from the whole time that you have to have on waiting for customer
Yeah,
service,
of course.
or even going to the store and waiting in line. So a lot of people either are on auto pay and don't even see their bills, don't even look at their bills to see if
Right.
they're accurate. And then the ones that do and talk to customer service, they have to go through endless lines and being transferred around. And then it also never gets done.
Right.
You'll say, hey, X, Y, and Z is incorrect. And then you'll, on your next monthly bill, they're still on there. Or
Right.
6 months later, they're still on there. So
Right.
you have to double check and triple check their work, and
Right.
you're paying them.
Yeah.
That's
right,
the
exactly.
that's the industry standards.
Do charges ever go back onto a bill, even though they were supposed to be waived, or they were waived for a period of time and then they come back up? Or you got to
All
watch
the
for
time.
that stuff
All the time. Yeah, charges that are removed and then
Yeah.
somehow get back on there, and
Yeah.
no one can explain why. Charges that are never should have been there in the first place,
Right. Well, that's
and no one is accountable because the person that you're speaking to over the phone, you don't know, and you're more than likely never going to speak to them again, since you get a different person every time you call. So getting a different story every
Right.
time you call is a company is an industry standard. And I can tell you from experience, you can call one company and get one answer, and you can call the same company and a different representative will give you another answer.
Yeah, of course, because they don't really know. They're making stuff up. They're reading it from a book. I don't know what they're doing.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes,
none of it's accurate.
absolutely. And the newer the representatives are, the less they know on how to help you.
Of course.
And the customer doesn't know the difference.
Right, because the training's terrible. I mean, some people have been there a long time. They learn. The other people don't. They're churning.
That's correct.
It's a
That's
revolving
correct. And the
door.
turnover in these companies is huge.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's
absolutely.
true across a lot of industries right now. Turnover is enormous.
That's correct.
Our
Yeah.
mailman changes every week. I mean, they don't even know how to get the mail here. If you don't put
That's
my suite number
correct.
on in my office, I'll never get the mail.
Yeah,
It's a
Yeah.
nightmare. Yeah.
absolutely. So yeah, so in 2016, I got fed up and I said,
Yeah.
I do not believe that these people should be taken advantage of. And I think that somebody should tell them the truth.
Okay.
So-
So, but this is an entrepreneur's podcast. So in 2016, you basically said, I'm going to start my own business, right?
That's correct. Yes.
What made you think, how did you analyze this, that, okay, I mean, it's great to help people, right? But you still got to pay your bills. You still got to take care of your family. You still got to live. You want to save some money, whatever.
Absolutely.
How did you determine, can this be a viable business?
Correct. Well, I saw so from my observation, I said, so if I know the answers to how to fix your problem
Right.
a lot faster and get you to skip the line, would that save you hours of your day and time and frustration? If I saved you the basically avoided the aggravation, would that be a benefit somebody would pay for?
Right.
And then the other side is, if I reduced your cost if I reduced your business telecommunication cost and negotiated a better price for the same level of service or better with the same company, with that benefit, and can those dollars then be utilized towards your costs, towards your business, towards
Right.
other expenses? So I put the two and two together and I said, well, what does a customer want? What does a business want? They want their services to work. They want to have an affordable price, and they
Right.
want to make sure it stays that way.
Yeah.
Right now, that's not happening.
Right.
So in 2016, I said, I'm going to take all of my knowledge and expertise, and I'm going to teach business owners and individuals on how to save money on their wireless and cable bills. And I will do better than that. I will negotiate their wireless and cable bills, their telecommunication expenses on their behalf. So they don't have to deal with the aggravation, and they don't have to keep guessing, am I paying the lowest amount? We can
Right.
get the best rate and the rate we should have been getting to begin with. So we do that, of course, by renegotiating with their current service provider.
Right.
So we're not a broker. We are not switching customers around like we talked about earlier from company to company. We negotiate strictly with your provider, and we leave the services you love or even make them better more often than not. And that's our services. That's what we do. And we've been doing that for since 2016.
5 years now,
Yeah, 5 years now,
Right.
all over the country. And we're up to 2,200 clients who are satisfied with their savings and their service. And of course, the best part, we make sure it stays that way.
Okay. So you might charge them a fee, or you might charge them a percentage of their savings. It just depends on the situation, right?
That's correct. Yes. So we are strictly a negotiating company that if we cannot save a customer money, we
Yeah.
can at least confirm that they're not overpaying for no cost at all. And if we do renegotiate a savings, we earn a portion of that savings. So the customer has no out-of-pocket cost for hiring us. We get paid from the savings we're bringing in.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about like ideal client profile. Obviously, you want to help everybody, but if everybody you had was an individual residential customer with 1 or 2 lines, you probably wouldn't be making too much money. You'd be spending the same amount of time negotiating it, right?
That's correct.
So what's your sweet spot? Like what's your marketplace for the most part?
Absolutely. So franchise owners,
Okay.
owners that have more than one locations,
Yeah.
whether it's in the same state or different state, usually do not have time to be on the phone with these providers.
Right.
Their CPAs or their staff members just don't have the knowledge to know if this is the best price they should be paying. So they're just bleeding money from these telecommunication companies.
Right. And they need internet service, and they need cell phone service, and they need regular service, all in all locations.
Correct. Every business cannot function without phones or internet and cell phones. The other industry that gets really that their bills are oversaturated and it gets pretty ripped off is the construction industry.
Really?
The not just that, but companies that have boots on the ground that have iPads and phones.
Right. A lot of it's electronic quotes, and they're paying for
their
service,
representatives and staff that are out in the field. Those companies usually have a pretty large telecommunication wireless plan that is 10 out of 10, oversaturated and underutilized, and they are overpaying.
Yeah, and they have tons of devices that are online, basically.
Correct. I will give you an example of a good client. We just worked with a lawn care company that has 5 locations and had 67 lines.
Not just all phones. Some of them are iPads. Some of them are just different things.
That's correct. They had 67 phones and iPads.
Right.
We saved them $50,000 a year.
Yeah, so they had a big bill.
They had a humongous bill.
Yeah.
So we saved them pretty much.
And did you save the money, and they didn't reduce the number of devices they have or anything? They did
not reduce the number of devices. They did not reduce their services and benefits. We
Right.
just negotiated with that cell phone provider a much better rate than they're currently getting. So we save them roughly around $4,200 per month. Those are now dollars per every year that are going back to the customer's pocket and into their business. There's plenty of other expenses.
At the end of the day, if you felt that you just weren't getting a good deal for them at whatever carrier that they're with, would you make a recommendation to move them?
I would make a recommendation to move them to a different carrier. That's correct.
And you would help them do that.
And I would help with the entire transition, because our job isn't just to make sure that you're paying the lowest amount. It's to make sure that you have the best quality of service.
Right, of course.
And also to make sure that it stays that way. So not only do we reduce the bill, but month after month, we monitor the account for any service or billing issues so that the customer never has to go through those problems again. They can call us and we take care of it on their behalf.
And do they pay you like a monthly fee to monitor that, or?
Included.
So it's included. So if in the future there's something mistakes or the bill goes up, you can get it down again, then you make some more money at that point.
Correct. So if after a certain amount of time, a year, 2 years, there is an increase because they bought more service, or let's say international charges, or growth of the company, then we can at that point, avoid that increase and renegotiate a new set of promotion for the next calendar year, and the service starts all over. That's correct.
Now, is this you negotiating a better deal for them, or is it because you're looking at the bill and saying, hey, you shouldn't be charging them this, you shouldn't be charging them this, the tax is wrong, these fees can be waived? I mean, is it a little bit of both?
It's a little bit of both. So part A is what promotions you're not getting on your account. Part B is the actual service that are being charged. So your plan, your package,
right?
If it's billed incorrectly, then we can fix that. If you're not getting the right promotions, we can add those. And then if we see billing errors, like being billed for services you don't need, or underutilizing, or taxes that you should not be billed, those are all variables that contribute to the cost reduction. So we are going to trim the fat on top of making sure you're getting an affordable rate. That's correct.
Okay, so let's talk about like the average small business owner, the kind of people that listen to this podcast. You may do business with them, but they may not be your ideal client profile, because you probably got to put as much work into someone with a shop with 2 lines and an internet connection than you would to a large company, because it's still the same bill, right?
Not necessarily. So our purpose is to make sure that nobody gets ripped off, and that these companies are not billing their customers more than they should. So we will work with just about anyone. An account that has 2 lines would take me, since this is my 10th year in the telecom industry, would take me 5 minutes. An account with 200 lines would take me a couple days. But at the same time, me knowing that the account, the small business, is overpaying, even if it's by a few $1,000s a year, $3,000 to $4,000 a year, it's a disservice for me to know and not let them and not help them. So the type of person that I am, and our company policy is that we're in a mission to make sure that no one overpays on their wireless and cable bills.
Right. So it's a good mission, but you still got to be profitable, because if you go out of business, you can't help anybody.
That's correct. Yeah, we have our sweet spot is companies that we can save at the very minimum $1,500 a month or more. So you're thinking $15,000 or more of savings per year is our sweet spot. Our average savings per business is between $9,000 to $12,000. That's average.
A year, annual.
Per year for a 2 to 3 year period. More so, we have a 93% success rate.
Meaning 93% of the people who come on board, you're able to save some sort of money.
Not some sort of money, an average of $9,000 a year.
Oh, okay. It falls within the average.
Correct. So that means that 93% of the time, your business is overpaying.
Well, it's probably higher than that, because if they're outside of the range, even though you're saving the money, but you're saving them less than
That's correct.
9,000.
But yeah, that's correct. But on average, that
Yeah.
there's basically a 90% chance that your business is overpaying, and that we can help you reduce the cost and avoid the aggravation.
So let's talk about some things like a business owner should look for or wonder about, and it may make them call you. I don't know, but the kind of things that happen, the traps, things like
Absolutely.
that. Yeah. And we're talking and identify whether you're talking cellular, talking internet,
Absolutely.
phone service, whatever.
Yes. So every business owner that has, whether they have a physical location or not, has the services we reduce, right? So they
Okay.
have cell phones, they have internet, they have landlines, fax
Right.
lines. Their employees have cell phones. So every business owner has those expenses, and every business owner gets trapped by not being able to have time to call these providers and negotiate on themselves,
Right.
or not knowing the right knowledge on what they should truly be paying.
Right.
So,
Well, that's a big part of it, right? Because you don't know
right,
what you're looking at.
you don't know what you're looking at. All you're doing is asking the provider, who has no incentive of lowering your bill, can you lower my bill?
Right.
That's not really a lot of ammo. And
Right.
the only reference you have is, can I afford this? Is it cheaper than before?
Right.
There is no way for a business owner to confirm if they're overpaying or not. They are at their mercy of their provider.
Right.
And that is the reality. So then a business owner can hire a company who is a telecommunication negotiation experts to negotiate on their behalf without getting them involved, getting them the best rates, and paying that service from the savings, having no out of pocket whatsoever. So that is a very good incentive of why business owners hire us. What to look for on your
Yeah.
bill? There's a few different items. Number one, are you using for your cell phones?
Right.
For bigger businesses, are you using all your lines? I cannot tell you how many times I've gone through a statement, I've gone through a business telecommunication expense, and I've seen a number of lines where the employees has left,
Right.
or
And they
the
don't know. They
line,
never disconnected the line.
they
They
never
don't know.
disconnect the line, or that
Right.
line should have never been here, was canceled X months ago, but it's still on here. So taking a
Oh, that
look
happens? Like you cancel the lines, they never take them off the bill?
all the time.
All the time. Okay. Well, that's something to look for.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's your best practices are to look for you on your bill, on your cell phone lines, which lines should be active versus not active. What lines should have insurance versus not insurance,
Right.
and which lines are being utilized and not utilized. So that's on the cell phone part. On the internet part, businesses are sold the biggest internet package when they really do not need the fiber speeds. They do not
Right.
need a package that is for
Yeah. They don't need
30 or
quantum.
40
Right.
employees when they're a team of 5 or 10 employees. So these companies like to oversell the benefits, but they're not telling the customers, hey, there's a few $100s you really shouldn't be paying on this account. So making sure that you have the correct package and you're not underutilizing is one of the tips. On cable TV for businesses, that's another one. A lot of businesses have it for their offices, for their guests to watch, things like
Right.
that.
Waiting rooms, things like that. Yeah.
Correct. On
Right.
all cable TVs, there's equipment cost that a lot of businesses don't have to pay. Most business owners do not know that. And
Even
on
like the box and things like that, the cable
equipment,
box. And,
boxes, remotes, things like that, those things are actually sometimes included or free, in depending on which package you have. So I've seen accounts where the customer is being billed for the equipment. And then I've seen accounts where the customer is not being billed for the equipment.
The same package?
Same package, same company.
Why? Because somebody who set them up just decided to charge them for the equipment and the other people
That's
waived
correct.
it?
That's correct. And the customer does not know any better. So they overpay.
Yeah.
And so those are all good things to look for. Keep an eye on your bill. Have a calendar reminder, whether it's monthly or quarterly, to review these expenses.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, do an annual review to say, am I paying less or more than last year? If
Yeah.
it's more, why is it more?
Right. What happened?
What happened? So here's another industry secret
Okay.
that these providers don't want you to know.
Oh, this is good. I like that.
On all personal or business accounts,
Right.
every year after February, January or February, they increase the cost and services, the equipment, the surcharges, and taxes. Like clockwork every year. So we're in September.
Yeah.
So we have 5 months and your bill is going up.
Yeah.
It
So,
may go
but
up-
if you have a contract, is it supposed to go up?
Yes, it does. The contract only describes a length of time, not the amount. Your
Oh, it like
bill,
locks you in, not to price, but to the service.
the time. It
Yeah.
locks you into 24 months, but it does not specify how much you would be billed within those 24 months. And
Well,
that's
what's
another
the point then? What's the point of me having a
and that's
contract?
another industry secret for all business owners. Every contract can be renegotiated at any time.
Okay.
Early termination fees can be waived at any
Of course.
time.
Yeah.
Activation fees do not need to be paid. Installation fees do not need to be paid. There's all sorts of ways to reduce your cost and your upfront cost, or if you're moving or your exit strategy and things like that. So those are some kind of tips and tricks on what to look out for.
So a lot of
Promotions.
times you just got to ask and be insistent on it. I mean, if you know, so if you called the cell phone company, right, and you knew that this discount was there, that they could waive that, you would be more resilient. You'd be more, persistent about it than if you think, well, they probably really can't do that anyway, so I'm not going to keep pushing them about it.
Not even persistent about it, but we have the codes.
Oh, yeah, you know what they are.
Every plan
Right.
and every service has a product code. That's how
Okay.
they can keep track.
Right. That makes sense.
If you have that product code, you are not asking, you're telling them, this is the code that needs to be on my plan, and this is the price that I should be paying. And that's the difference between a business owner or a personal account calling
Right.
their cell phone and cable provider and having a telecommunication expert calling on your behalf.
Right. Well, it's like when you, I always say this, when you go to criminal court, you want your attorney, you want them to know your attorneys knows what they're doing. They've been to
That's
court
correct.
before, because they don't take advantage of it. If they know that you've been in the business for 10 years, 15 years, and you know all their secrets, they're not going to play games with you.
Correct.
Yeah.
So when we call, we are getting it done once and once only. There is no, my bill went up. There is no, I don't understand my services and why am I paying for this? So in other words, we provide a
Right.
service that avoids the false expectations
Right.
and the runarounds and overpaying on services you should not be overpaying.
Now, what's your opinion on cell phone insurance? Because I used to have it, and then I felt it wasn't worth anything, because even if I couldn't get a phone at the time, now it's very easy to upgrade, but if I couldn't get a phone at the time, I could get a refurbished unit for less than the deductible, and they would send me a refurbished phone anyway.
That's correct.
So it's usually a waste, right?
That's correct. So there are incidents where the insurance on your phone comes in handy. Nowadays, devices are costing $1,100, $1,200.
Right.
So you paying a $200 deductible with your insurance and not,
May make sense, right?
to get yourself a new phone.
But you don't get do you get a new phone? I thought you get they're entitled to give you a refurbished unit if they can find one, right?
That is correct. That is
Right.
another little secret that they don't tell you.
Right.
Your device is refurbished. The device
Right.
the insurance company sends you is not a brand new phone. It
Right.
is a used phone. And certain defects are common and a risk.
Yeah.
The other portion about insurance, and this is just in the past, over the past maybe about 5 to 6 years,
Okay.
insurance now, and this is regarding all providers.
Okay.
Your insurance, part of it has a cost, and hidden cost, that is tech support. Tech support that the manufacturing company of your device, Apple, Samsung, whatever you have,
Right.
offers for free. And your service provider, who you're getting your cell phone service from, also offers it for free. But the insurance company sneaks in a hidden fee in your insurance cost and doesn't tell you. And your providers are saying it's included.
Yeah. So it may make sense when it's a very new device. There's not a lot of big market for refurbished devices. And then if it does go in the toilet or something, they almost have to give you almost a new phone because there aren't a lot of units out there. But after a while, if you have an 11 and the 13s are out, you probably could get one refurbished under $200, from
That's
somebody.
correct. That's
Yeah.
correct. Yeah. So it does not always pay to have insurance. And
Right.
more than
It's a great
likely,
moneymaker though for the insurance
oh,
company.
absolutely.
Yeah.
More than likely, we see this every day. Your insurance is the wrong insurance. You're being billed for the wrong insurance, and you're being billed for a service that you get free twice by 2 different companies. But you're still being billed for tech support when you really shouldn't. We see that as a common mistake.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, I'm always very frustrated with that kind of stuff because there's nothing worse than having to call and be waiting online, and you can't get nowadays with COVID. Forget it. You can't get through to anybody. You got to chat on the internet to get somebody. You can't figure anything out.
Yep, that's right. So that's something that I want to bring up. Of course, when we're hired, waiting on hold no longer exists.
You
You
do
no
that.
longer have to call your provider. You would call us, we would take care of it on your behalf. So waiting on hold is not something that our customers do.
Right.
If a customer does want to call their provider, we do have some tips that we want to share with you guys today on how to skip the line.
Okay.
Um,
Another Rickism. Here we go.
Here we go. So this is an oldie, unknown by many, but it still works. If you call your provider and you press 0, it automatically takes you to the front of the line.
Really?
That's
So it doesn't just get you to an operator, but it takes you to the front of the line.
It takes you to the front of the line,
Okay.
pressing 0 with most wireless and cable providers. The other trick is to say, cancel my service, even though you're not trying to cancel your service. If you say to the automated system, cancel my service,
Right.
it will
They
skip
send
the
you to
line
the
and take you to the front of the
they
line.
send you to
since
the
you've now
account
become-
recovery group.
Correct, which
Yeah.
they lie to you anyways. So, but that's a
Right.
way to skip the line. The other
No, because
way,
the system is now like in an alarm. Oh, this guy wants to cancel. We got to save him.
correct.
That's a good
correct.
tip. That's a
Yep.
good tip.
And the other tip, if that doesn't work, is new service. If you tell the automated system new customer,
They flip out.
you will skip the line
Right.
and you will get someone who can answer any of your questions and help you. Yeah. And so,
And you
so
don't have to tell them. They'll be like, oh, you want to sign up for a new service? No, I'm a customer.
correct.
Like,
And they still,
they'll just,
at once, they'll still help you. Correct.
right.
Yep.
Yeah. They don't
So
know. You
those
got
are
routed
3
wrong.
tips for any business or personal accounts
Yeah.
to use and skip the line. And that saves a lot of people a lot of time.
Nice. Very good. Very good. I love that stuff. All right. So if somebody wants to get a hold of you, like let's say they have a family of 5 or they have a small business, you'll take their calls or interact with them or talk to them
Absolutely. Absolutely.
anywhere in the United States.
We do this anywhere in the United States. And we're just now getting into Canada. So we
Okay.
work with all sorts of different sizes of businesses,
Yeah.
from businesses that spend over $100,000 a month in telecommunication cost,
That's a
to
big bill.
businesses that spend $500 a month on telecommunication costs. They're wireless cable and internet
Right.
bills. For personal accounts, we like to help people as well. So we will, if someone reaches out to us and says, I would like your help to see if we can reduce our bill, that's our mission.
And they're not always with the same carrier, right? Like, so my cell phone's with T-Mobile, my internet and cable is with Verizon. Yeah. Because
Correct.
we moved because it was cheaper to save money. We moved the
Correct.
cell phone away
We
from
work with
Verizon.
all the providers across the United States.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So,
And I assume they can find you on LinkedIn. Do you
they can
have a
find
company
us-
website? What's the name of your company too?
Premier Solutions, Inc.
Okay. And it's that the website, premiersolutions.com?
No, the website is SFL, like the
Okay.
initials of South Florida,
Okay.
solutionsinc.com.
Got it. We'll put a link in the show notes too, so people can find you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So they can find us online. They can always call our office line, which is 954-591-9565.
Okay.
And they can, on LinkedIn, Facebook, on Google, and of course, our office line are all ways to reach out to us.
Well, Rick, I thank you for coming on, for sharing your story, for sharing tips and tricks. People can be a little bit more comfortable with the bills they pay. And yeah, let's definitely stay in touch and save some
Absolutely.
money for some people.
Absolutely. Thanks again for having me. Appreciate it.